Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill that never stops? Like no matter how hard you try, there's always someone reminding you that you should be doing more, being more, achieving more? That feeling of never being enough isn't your fault. We live in an era where being average has become almost a sin, where not having visible success means you failed as a person. But what if I told you that all of this is just a construction? A story we've been told and bought into without question. The Tao, this ancient Chinese wisdom, has something revolutionary to teach us about failure, ambition, and what it really means to live well. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about success. When we talk about failure, what exactly are we talking about? If you stop to think about it, what we consider failure today didn't exist in the same way 200 years ago. Our ancestors didn't wake up thinking about whether they were successful in the sense we use today. They planted, harvested, cared for their families, lived their lives within the natural rhythm of the seasons. The modern concept of failure is a recent invention, created by a society obsessed with productivity and performance. It's as if we created a game with invisible rules and then started punishing those who can't play it well. But who said these rules make sense? This construction serves a very clear purpose: maintaining a hierarchy. If you believe that those who haven't won in life simply didn't try hard enough, you accept that some deserve more and others deserve less. It's a very elegant form of social control, because it makes each person blame themselves individually instead of questioning the system. The Tao invites us to see beyond these artificial constructions. In nature, a tree doesn't fail by growing slowly. A river doesn't fail by following the easiest path. They simply exist and follow their natural course. Why should it be different for us? And when we talk about ambition, things get even more complex. Ambition can be a powerful force, it's true. It takes us out of our comfort zone, makes us dream big, pushes us forward. But like every intense force, it has a dark side we rarely discuss. There's a subtle difference between having a dream that inspires you and having a thirst that's never quenched. The first energizes you, the second devours you. Healthy ambition comes from a place of abundance. You want to grow because life is good, and you want to explore it more. Toxic ambition comes from scarcity. You need to conquer because without it, you're worth nothing. Taoism teaches us about balance. It doesn't condemn ambition, but questions when it becomes a compulsion. When you're so focused on getting somewhere that you forget to observe the landscape along the way. When the means become less important than the end. This breaks our harmony with the natural flow of life. Our society has also created something particularly insidious. It transforms success into a moral issue combined with the industrialization of personal growth. If you're successful, you're a good person, hardworking, deserving. If you're not, well, it's your fault. And worse, you're also not developing yourself enough. This is the new moralism, crueler than traditional religious morality because it comes with constant pressure for optimization. At least in religious morality, you could be poor and still be virtuous. Today, your bank account has become a certificate of good behavior. Your follower count has become a measure of human value. And on top of that, you must be constantly evolving, reinventing yourself, maximizing your potential. We live in perpetual anxiety that we're not doing enough either to be successful or to develop ourselves as people. As if our current version were always insufficient, always a draft that needs to be rewritten. There's an app for every aspect of your life, a course for every flaw you have, a coach for every area where you need to improve. The obsession with personal productivity has transformed intimate life into a kind of company you need to manage. You must maximize your sleep, optimize your nutrition, hack your creativity, automate your habits. Even rest has become performance. Even spirituality has become a metric to measure whether you're growing enough. This dual mentality, moral judgment for success and infinite demand for development, destroys the self-esteem of millions of ordinary people. Good people who work hard, care for their families, do their part in the world, but who have neither the shine our society considers valuable, nor the infinite energy that self-help culture demands. The Tao offers an antidote to this collective madness. It reminds us that the value of something isn't in its visibility or its constant optimization. The tree's root is invisible and grows in its own time, but without it, there are no leaves or fruits. The air we breathe is transparent and doesn't try to improve itself, but it's essential for life. Imagine for a moment how painful it must be to be a good, honest person who works with dedication, cares for children with love, helps neighbors when needed, but who at the end of the day feels like a failure because they don't have public recognition, nor are following a 15-step personal development plan. What an aberration have we created? Perhaps one of the most painful experiences of modern life is the feeling of being invisible, of being just another face in the crowd. We live in a culture that celebrates exceptionality, that constantly bombards us with stories of people who stood out. And when you don't stand out, when you're just normal, this becomes a source of deep shame. Being average, discreet, without great recognition, has become synonymous with personal failure. As if every person should be a star, as if there were no beauty or dignity in a simple life, well lived, but without spotlights. But think about nature for a moment. In a forest, there are few giant trees and thousands of smaller plants, shrubs, moss, small flowers. All are essential to the ecosystem. All have their role. The forest wouldn't be possible if all plants wanted to be the tallest tree. And more importantly, none of these plants are trying to develop themselves to impress the others. They simply grow according to what their nature allows. The Tao especially values what is discreet and silent. In Taoist philosophy, the wise person is like water, flexible, humble, always seeking the lowest place, but capable of shaping mountains with gentle persistence. Water doesn't have a 5-year plan to become the best version of itself. It simply flows, adapts, persists. And here we arrive at one of modernity's most seductive illusions: the belief in absolute merit combined with the fantasy of total control. We've been convinced that we live in a perfect meritocracy where, in addition to everyone having exactly what they deserve, we also have total control over our results if we just try hard enough and develop ourselves enough. This dual belief is comforting because it gives us the illusion of justice and control. The rich deserve to be rich and had control over it. The poor deserve to be poor and could have changed it. The famous deserve to be famous and planned it. The anonymous deserve to be anonymous and chose it. But it's also devastating for those who can't win the game, because it implies that the fault is entirely theirs on two fronts. You didn't try hard enough, and you didn't develop yourself enough. Reality is much more complex and, in a way, much more mysterious. Effort matters, personal development can help, but they're just some of the many factors that determine the outcomes of our lives. There's luck, timing, connections, the historical context we're born into, opportunities that arise or don't arise, mental and physical health, family circumstances, and yes, there's also something we can call destiny. Two people can try exactly the same way, follow the same personal development advice, and have completely different results. This doesn't mean one is better than the other, or that one deserved more, or that one developed more. It just means that life is unpredictable, and there are forces beyond our individual control. The truth is that life is full of variables that are completely outside our domain. Life's algorithm, if we can call it that, isn't fair or predictable. Sometimes, people with great talent and dedication go unnoticed. Sometimes, people with less skill reach the top by chance, luck, or timing. If you've ever had a YouTube channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can make an incredible video, following all the best practices that nobody sees, and another mediocre one that goes viral for no explanation. The algorithm has its own rules, and they're not always about merit or strategy. Life is similar. Taoism embraces this uncertainty and teaches us something revolutionary: the unified concept of Wu Wei, which goes far beyond not forcing. Wu Wei is a complete way of existing that integrates effortless action, flowing with life, accepting what we can't control, and acting in harmony with the present moment. It's simultaneously a principle of action and a state of being. Imagine a surfer on the perfect wave. He's not passive, he's actively balancing, adjusting, responding. But he's also not fighting the water. He's dancing with it. He's not trying to control the wave, he's collaborating with it. He's not forcing a specific result. He's present for what's happening now. This is Wu Wei, conscious action in harmony with life's greater forces. When we apply this integrated wisdom to our lives, something magical happens. Existential anguish diminishes. The need to control everything softens. The obsession with constant development transforms into gentle curiosity about ourselves. We begin to trust life's process more, even when we don't completely understand where it's taking us. This doesn't mean we stop having goals, stop trying, or abandon all personal growth. It means we do it in a more organic way, more connected to our real nature, more open to unforeseen possibilities. We stop being warriors fighting against life to become dancers dancing with it. Think of a river. It always finds its way to the sea, but not in a straight line. It goes around rocks, embraces curves, sometimes runs fast, sometimes forms tranquil pools. It doesn't fight the terrain, it works with what it finds. And crucially, the river isn't trying to improve or optimize its flow. It simply is what it is, in the most complete way possible. Accepting this reality isn't defeatism, it's liberating realism. And paradoxically, when we stop trying to control everything and compulsively develop ourselves, we often achieve more satisfying results. We become more creative, more spontaneous, more open to opportunities that arise in unexpected ways. Our energy isn't trapped in resistance and performance, but available for creation and genuine response. And here we arrive at a revelation that may sound contradictory, but is profoundly liberating. Sometimes not being anyone special is the greatest freedom that exists. When you're not famous, when you're not in the spotlight, when you're just another person living your life, you're free from the constant performance that recognition demands. You can be genuine, can have bad days without being judged, can change your mind without disappointing fans. You can grow at your own pace, without development timelines imposed from outside. The nobody that our society despises may actually be the freest person of all. Free to experiment, to fail without the whole world knowing, to discover who they really are without the pressure of maintaining an image or fulfilling a personal growth plan. In Taoist philosophy, there's special beauty in what's invisible to the eyes. The empty space inside a vase is what makes it useful. The silence between notes is what makes music. The unoccupied space in a painting is what gives the work breathing room. Sometimes, what isn't seen is more important than what is seen. And sometimes, not constantly, developing yourself is wiser than always being in motion. Being socially invisible can be a portal to becoming visible to yourself. When you're not worried about others' opinions or your next growth goal, you can finally hear your own inner voice. This brings us to a very important question about destiny and spontaneity. Taoism doesn't deny the value of effort or personal growth, but recognizes that there's something greater in operation, something we can call destiny, synchronicity, or simply life's mystery. There's a Zen story that illustrates this well. A farmer works hard on his crop, tends to the plants with knowledge and care, but also knows he can't control the rain, sun, or pests. He does his part and trusts that the universe will do its part. He's open to learning and growing, but isn't obsessed with optimizing every aspect of the process. It's not passivity or negligence, it's wisdom. Sometimes the best things that happen to us come in completely unexpected ways. A chance encounter that changes our life. A mistake that leads us down a better path. A door that closes so another can open. A phase of apparent stagnation that's actually preparation for something new. When we learn to let go of attachment to total control and the need to always be evolving, we create space for life to surprise us in positive ways. It's like letting go of gripping the steering wheel so tight that you can better feel which direction the road is taking. This openness to the unknown, this dance between effort and surrender, between growth and acceptance, is where life becomes really interesting. It's where we stop trying to write the whole story alone and start improvising with what life offers us. One of the deepest sources of human suffering is our fixation on specific outcomes. We want things to turn out exactly as we planned, and when they don't, we become frustrated, anxious, sometimes even devastated. But what if the problem wasn't the lack of control, but our need to control? What if peace wasn't in getting what we want, but in discovering what we really need? What if fulfillment wasn't in reaching our goals, but in becoming people capable of enjoying whatever path life offers us? The Tao teaches us that process is more important than product. The path is more important than the destination. The quality of the journey is more important than the speed of arrival. This isn't just poetry. It's a radically different way of living. When you're obsessed with a specific outcome, You lose the ability to see the opportunities and beauty that arise in the process. It's like being so focused on the horizon that you trip over the stones on the path and miss the birds singing in the trees. Letting go of outcome doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means pursuing them in a smarter, more fluid way, more open to unforeseen possibilities that may arise along the way. Sometimes, what you find is much better than what you were looking for. Amid all this pressure to be exceptional, to stand out, to achieve great things, we forget a simple and profound truth. There's immense beauty in ordinary life. There's magic in breakfast taken without hurry. There's poetry in casual conversation with a neighbor. There's depth in the silence of late afternoon. There's extraordinary in the small gestures of affection we exchange every day. There's wisdom in a child's gaze discovering the world. There's mystery in how light changes during the day. Our obsession with the extraordinary blinds us to these small treasures. We're always looking somewhere else, waiting for real life to begin when we reach that goal, when we get that recognition, when we finally become the best version of ourselves. But real life is this now. It's the breath you're taking while reading these words. It's the weight of your body in the chair. It's the temperature of the air on your skin. It's all this that we consider common, but which is, in reality, an everyday miracle. Taoism invites us to be present for this simple and extraordinary reality. We don't need to conquer the world to live a full life. We don't need to constantly reinvent ourselves to have value. We just need to be here, now, with attention and gratitude. This especially resonates with sensitive people who feel deeply, who seek meaning beyond appearances. For those with this contemplative nature, ordinary life can be an infinite field of discoveries and reflections. A walk in the park can be more revealing than a personal growth seminar. An honest conversation with a friend can be more transformative than a self-help book. Ordinary life contains all the elements of extraordinary life: love, loss, growth, discovery, beauty, mystery. The difference isn't in the events, but in the quality of attention we direct toward them. A sunset seen with total presence can be more transformative than a professional achievement reached with haste and anxiety. One of the plagues of the digital era is perpetual comparison syndrome. We live in an age where others' lives are always visible, where we can see successes, achievements, others' joys at any moment of the day. This creates a perpetual state of insufficiency. There's always someone who's doing better, who achieved more, who got further, who seems happier, more fulfilled, more developed. And our mind insists on making these comparisons, as if life were a race where only one person can win. But life isn't a race. It's a symphony. Each person has their own instrument, their own rhythm, their own melody to contribute. Comparing your life to someone else's is like comparing the sound of a violin to a piano. They're different, but both are necessary for the complete music. Comparison generates frustration because we always find someone who has something we don't have. It generates envy because it makes us covet others' lives instead of valuing our own. It generates guilt because it makes us feel we're not enough as we are, that we're not progressing fast enough, that we should be doing more. The Tao invites us to return to ourselves, to stop looking sideways and start looking inward, to discover what our own music is instead of trying to play someone else's music, to find our own rhythm instead of trying to keep up with others' rhythm. When you stop comparing yourself, something incredible happens. You begin to really know yourself. You discover your own preferences, your own talents, your own paths, your own timing. And then life stops being an imitation and becomes an original creation. And this brings us to a revolutionary perspective on failure. What if, instead of seeing it as defeat, we started seeing it as liberation? A liberation from the character we were trying to be, from the expectations we carried, from the image we were trying to maintain, from the plans that imprisoned us. When everything falls apart, when our plans don't work out, when we're forced to admit we don't have control over everything, something interesting can happen. The ego, which was trying to keep everything in place and follow all the success scripts, relaxes. And in the space of that surrender, something more authentic can emerge. It's as if failure burned away everything non-essential in us, leaving only what really matters. The masks fall, the pretenses dissolve, the impossible plans are abandoned, and we discover that underneath all that performance was a real person, more interesting and more loving than any character we were trying to play. This is close to the Taoist concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, When we stop trying so hard to control and impress, when we relax our need to follow scripts of success and development, our true nature can express itself more fluidly and naturally. Failure, seen this way, isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a truer story. It's the opportunity to start over. This time not trying to be who we think we should be, but discovering who we really are, with our limitations, our humanity, our imperfect beauty. There's a particular type of courage that only emerges after great failures. The courage to be vulnerable, to admit you don't have all the answers, to ask for help, to show your humanity, to give up the performance of perfection. This courage is more valuable than any success built on a foundation of fear and social mask. And perhaps this is where we arrive at the deepest understanding of all. Being a nobody might be the only path to being everything. When you stop trying to be special in others' eyes, you become special in your own eyes. When you stop seeking external recognition, you find internal recognition. When you stop following success formulas, you find your own unique way of existing. In Taoism, emptiness isn't absence, it's infinite potential. Empty space isn't lack of something, it's space for everything. When you empty yourself of expectations, roles, performances, compulsive plans, you create space to discover who you really are. There's immense freedom in not needing to be anyone specific, in being able to wake up each day and discover again who you are, without being trapped by a fixed image of yourself. In being able to change, grow, experiment, without having to justify this evolution to an audience or meet a development schedule. Being nobody is being at peace with uncertainty, with the mystery of your own existence. It's accepting that you're a process, not a product, a journey, not a destination, a question in constant reformulation, not a definitive answer. And when you accept this, when you embrace this condition of nobody special, something paradoxical happens. You become deeply special to yourself and to those who really know you, not for your performance or achievements, but for your authenticity, your presence, your humanity, your ability to be truly present for life as it is. We thus arrive at a place of peace, a peace that doesn't depend on achievements or recognition, but on acceptance and understanding. The peace of someone who understood that life isn't a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. It's not a project to be completed, but an experience to be savored. So, instead of asking, how can I be successful? Maybe the question is, what kind of person do you become when you accept not knowing all the answers? Instead of, how can I stand out? How about discovering, what's the unique beauty that only you can offer the world, even if no one else notices? Instead of, how can I achieve more? Try exploring. What happens when you truly appreciate what you already have? The person you already are, the path you've already traveled. If these reflections touched something in you, if you feel there are more layers to explore in this journey of self-knowledge through ancient wisdom, I have something special to share. Our exclusive ebook, Alchemy and Archetypes, has practical exercises that can help you in this process. And if you want to continue this conversation, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next reflections we'll share. A like on this video helps me know that this content is reaching the right people, those who, like you, seek true wisdom to navigate the complexity of existing in this world. I'll meet you in the next video.